the integration of the national team players, whatever schedule they come back and what you have, that thought process.
Well, they're going to get a couple days off because they've had a longer preseason than some. So they'll come join us in Palm Springs.
What would your overall take, if you had one thing that you pulled off from this quick Arizona camp, what would that be?
No injuries. Everybody healthy. Everybody staying healthy, and you know what I mean by that.
Let's choose a guy that has a lot of potential, that has some developing to do. What have you seen out of him this year in terms of maybe willingness to learn and just continue to integrate with your system?
It's interesting that you asked that question. Leo's certainly a hot topic with some of our fans and media members. He's a nice young kid. He's actually learning English, which is important because maybe last year some of the language barrier, he doesn't understand, he doesn't see things as well. Portuguese, although JP helped him for a little bit, it's always better if you understand the language. JP can't babysit him, so he has to stand on his own 2 feet. And then, as far as the acclimation to MLS, it's sometimes it's a hard one for young players, for even more experienced players to come to our league because MLS is different than many other leagues in the world. So he's embraced that, and he's getting better.
Can you give an update as far as Nico and the way that he looked in the preseason?
I just said that was the hint I gave over there. He's doing great. No new setbacks.
Chris, what do you see from Nouhou? Did you have a chance to watch him yesterday?
I watched the game. I saw all the commentary for all our fans. I saw all the highlights of him tackling Salah and all that sort of stuff. I saw it all. I enjoyed it as a soccer fan. And then, we kept in contact, because there was some, some stuff happened after that one game in Cameroon. Wanted to make sure he was okay and things like that. So we kept close contact, and, he's obviously done very well. So we're proud of that fact. I'm proud of the fact that, he's come a long way since he's been here.
Yeah, you just mentioned, taking with no injuries there in Arizona. So what are you more happy about, that he no injuries from the time at least so far, and or is it just that he shut down one of the better attackers in the world?
Well, look, soccer is a team sport. Let me just look. When Nouhou comes down back to us, he's going to be a great player on a great team. Okay. Cameroon obviously had a good team, lots of good players. He had help in shutting him down. So, yes, Nouhou's not the only player for Cameroon on the field yesterday. It's unfortunate that they lost, but, that's the way it goes sometimes. We know what that's about. So he's been great. He'll be great when he comes back. I'm going to give him a couple days as well. He'll join us in Palm Springs, and we'll move forward.
What about the Jordan U.S. national team? He's got the start, of course.
Happy that he got the start. We were just talking about that over there. That Greg has the confidence in, playing Jordan. I think that's great. It's good for Jordan's, mental recovery. So good for him. Certainly from a selfish standpoint, wish Christian would have got a few more minutes, get him game fitness. I think Christian deserves to, be in that squad, but, it's not my team.
The official news today of Raúl Ruidíaz, João Paulo, Xavi, locking those guys down through 2024. What does that mean for you guys?
It means we'll have a really good team for the next couple of years, and we'll add players next year, and, we'll keep trying to do what we do here in Seattle is, collect good players, play good soccer, entertain our fans, make sure that we, keep the standard high. We've set a high bar for ourselves, and signing players of that caliber are critical to our success. So, Raúl, can't dispute that. JP, Javi, they're all excellent players.
Brian, you got a small look at what Rusnak and another top player like Raúl Ruidíaz integrates both on and off the field. How would you describe that right now?
Good. We have a really good group of guys. So it's funny, we have different tables, and you kind of see which guys hang together, and sometimes the non-Spanish speakers dip their toe in the water and they come to that table and they have to learn Spanish, and then there's other communication, going back and forth in broken English, and it's great to see. And I think Albert has fit in exactly how we knew, because we had good intel on him. He's a nice man, very talented soccer player, and you guys will see that he's going to be a valuable piece to our success this year.
Sometimes we can come from being kind of the head guy in one club and going to another.
Well, he had Damir Krylak was pretty good too. So, I mean, yeah, being the captain maybe at RSL, I get it. I get your question. But I think Albert has high standards for himself. I mean, he wants to be the best player on the best team. And that's what drives him, and that's what makes him a good player.
Speaking of people from RSL, Freddie Juarez as well, how have you seen him and his role evolve? If there's a comfortability that you're seeing, how have you seen him kind of...
Yeah, the staff's coming together well. I mean, there was a time when we were going to add one more staff member, but right now at this time I don't think we're going to do that. I'm happy with Andy, happy with Freddie, Preki, Tommy. We've got a great staff.
Including Clint Dempsey and Hope Solo. What was your initial reaction to this?
I actually was watching at Peacock TV, and they did Hope and Clint and everything, and so that was kind of a, good surprise. Selfishly, again, because I know you can have different viewpoints, but I believe personally that Clint is the greatest goal scorer that this country has produced. His flair, his ability to score big goals in big games, big moments, he was never afraid of that big moment. And so for him to be inducted in the Hall of Fame seems to be a no-brainer, but congrats, Clint, anyway. And I think you're the greatest goal scorer we've ever produced. And then Hope Solo, I always like to tell this one story. We were training on Field 3 over here when Chuck Grenade, my old goalkeeper coach at the USL days, was there. And every day we saw these two young ladies training down there, over there. And I said, who is that down there? Well, it was Hope Solo and a friend. I forget the gal's name. And so I said, bring Hope over. Let's bring the gal over. Let's see if they want to train in with us. And so we allowed her to train a couple times with the USL team, and it was great. She worked hard, competitive, fearless, real competitor. And so congratulations to another Northwest, legend that gets her due.
Do you have a favorite Clint Dempsey story?
Well, there's a lot of them. I mean, his mic drop when we won the championship in Portland up on the parade was pretty good. He was actually, I have to give Clint credit for this. So when I first took over, we had a draw, 1-1 the first game, then we went on a road trip. And Clint, before he had his heart problems, helped us win the first 3 games. So we drew, and then we won 3 in a row. And Clint was a big part of those 3 games and kind of led the spark of the team, okay, here we go, let's go. So I always give him credit for that as well.
Ryan, just one more for Clint about, arguably, and to me, probably the best American soccer player I've seen. But his new career path, were you at all surprised by it?
No.
Did you see it coming down?
No, I mean, look, he's going to tell you what he thinks. He's going to tell it to you in a entertaining fashion, and I love the banter that they have going back and forth, telling stories. I mean, it makes the broadcast good, and Clint knows what he sees. When he says something, people believe him. I believe him, because what he's saying is good commentary.
I'd like to ask a little bit about AB and him returning this year, having second season with you guys. How is he? What was his
Good.
approach like? What have you seen, I guess, from him this season?
All the young kids have been working hard, Jada. They've all been working well. We have Henry taking care of all the young kids. They know the expectations. They know what they have to do. AB is a guy that wants to get a regular starting spot in the team. And he's working hard to get there.
When you have a player like Nouhou, and the way that he's shown himself on the bigger stage, bigger stage, but big
Yeah.
national stage.
You're correct. You're correct.
How does that kind of, you and your staff as far as the defensive line looks like, does that get you excited about what those things what the possibilities are, what he does?
Well, we're always at this stage of the season awfully excited and anxious and nervous and happy, and we like what we see, and some days we don't. It's preseason. So when Nouhou comes back, we'll see how he fits in. We're still toying between, do we play 4-2-3-1? Do we stay with our 3-4, 2-1? How do we do that? Is it a combination of both? We're still sorting all of that stuff out. And, we'll take a look at everything when everybody's here. The Palm Springs camp is when we're going to do most of the little tweaking. And then we'll run out against Motagua and see what happens.
With not having a reliable player like Shane back there, do you expect to have to rely a little bit more on a player like AB too?
Well, we'll rely on AB, Javi, Yaimar, Nouhou, maybe Jackson. I mean, there's lots of options out there.
You've had players join camp late because of international duty before. You've never had this many players, but does it, and I would imagine there's a benefits and drawbacks. Like, they don't get as much training with you, but they're, like Kellen said, that these guys are all kind of getting a head start in terms of their fitness. Do you see that as a net positive or a net negative, or how do you balance that out?
Each case is individual, because look, if a guy goes into a camp and he really is playing significant minutes like Nouhou, he's going to come ready to go. It's plug and play. You're going to plug him in there and you're going to play. But look, let's be honest, Jordan and Christian didn't play a ton of minutes. So are they fit? Yes. Are they game sharp? Maybe. They'll need some games to get, again, setting expectations for those guys. What are my expectations of Jordan after a year off? It's still going to take him some time. Remember, that was a challenge at the end of last year, trying to get him to, kind of get back into the group and how we played. So there are some nuances. There are some differences. Each one's different. I mean, Alex played a lot of minutes. Javi, no. Yaimar was in with Colombia. Good for him, and he played a practice game. He said the game wasn't very fast. So it's kind of a exhibition game.
Is your expectation? I'm sorry if you've already asked this, but is your expectation that all those guys, other than Nouhou, I suppose, are going to be with you in Palm Springs?
Yep. And even Nouhou, as soon as he's got the third place game and whatever other issues he's got to deal with, we'll probably see him in Palm Springs, or at least that's my hope.
But your hope is that essentially the whole team will be with you in Palm Springs.
Yeah.